Unpopular opinion, I guess. Kaya did nothing wrong. No, I wouldn't go that far. Kaya's not the bad guy. I guess it's a better way of putting it. Kaya is not the villain of this story. It really does seem like, based on like my whole live stream where I did a tier list of all the girls of the current season, and yes, in a lot of comment sections for this particular episode, everybody is just blaming Kaya and the Saimori family, and that's not really the picture that I get from the story. Yes, Kaya is the spawn of Satan. Let's just put it out there. She's disgusting. Don't like her. But she's not really the one at fault here. I guess from my perspective, even though it is plainly seen here, like you can see the actions that Kaya's taking here, it's not really the full picture. I really like to give a broad look at what's going on here, and Kaya is just sort of the creation of a bad group of people. Like, everybody around her made her what she is. She herself is not inherently evil. It's just she has been molded that way. And that's why I've told a lot of people that I really do feel like Kaya is prime for having some sort of redemption. Now, again, it does not wipe away what she's done before, and the choice to forgive her is really up to Mio, which I'm assuming will eventually probably happen. Kaya herself is a product of those that surround her. But I'm getting sort of ahead of myself. Yes, episode 6 of My Happy Marriage was extremely emotional, extremely wrecking, extremely fatiguing. There was a lot here, and it really did hurt me. It was enough that I just was like, man, I need to turn on the camera and give my thoughts on this episode because so much really happened here. Yes, there's a side of me that almost thinks like this story isn't super complicated yet, but it's doing a great job of both portraying the story that it's telling with believability despite there being a supernatural element added to it, at the same time portraying the society that it is within. Even though this is an alternate history type of setting with supernatural stuff and everything, it still is this setting. And there's a lot of things in play that I think a lot of people get frustrated with, but at the same time is understandable to me. We all want the hero to stand up and fight back. We all want people not to stand by while bad things are happening. But in this society, it's a society of don't cause waves. Don't step out of line. Stay in your lane. Yes, a lot of people will see a character like Koji and say, why isn't he doing anything? This guy is equally at fault as everybody else. But what I see is a character who stays in his lane. Okay, father said to do this. Guess I'm doing this. Okay, father said they're going to do this. All right, I guess they're going to do that. He lacks both the authority, societal position, and additionally, with this particular world, the supernatural abilities to be able to even stand up and do anything about it. But that's sort of to the effect of the society. You stay in line, and it isn't until that back is broken, that camel's back from all that stuff being put on top of it, before you go, I can't stand by anymore. And that's pretty much what happened with Koji. Finally, I can't let this happen anymore. They're going to do something to Mio. Before, it was just they're sending Mio to this mean guy. I can deal with that. I didn't get to marry her. That's fine, as long as she's hopefully going to be happy. And it seems like she's happy. But no, the point in which it becomes a threat to her, finally he stands up. Again, stay in your lane until that lane suddenly comes to a roadblock and you can't keep proceeding. That's the society. And I really do truly deep down believe that's probably what's going to happen to Mio's father. He seems like somebody that stands aside. Somebody that will never do anything until finally he can't stand aside anymore. He's no longer going to be the pawn to everybody else. Yes, I, like many other people, think that Mio's father is a dirtbag. But my theory around him is more the idea that he loved Mio's mother. Loved Sumi so much. And the moment that he lost her, he broke. And it wasn't until Kanako, Kaya's mother, came into the picture that he suddenly had joy again. And they became the focus. And he became controlled by Kanako. Yes, in the end, my theory on who the true villains are here is really Kanako, his second wife, and Minoru Tatsushi. Those two are your villains. Those are the two that are pretty much pulling all the strings and forcing people to do things that they really shouldn't be doing. And I think Shinichi Saimori was pretty much letting things happen. Wasn't stepping out of line in order to appease this new joy that he had. He thought that his family would continue on, and he put Mio to the side. I don't think we ever seen any case where he physically abused Mio. He just let things happen, which sucks. It's still abuse, honestly. Well, not directly, he's still indirectly allowing abuse to happen to her, and yes, he's neglecting her. But there's still a side of me that thinks that the reason why he put Mio in the position of going to Kudo is because he didn't want Mio to be exploited by others. So I think at some point you're going to get that perspective of, Yeah, he's still a dirtbag, and I still think he's a disgusting father. He wasn't the worst, if you could say that. He wasn't the worst. There was still a side of him that wanted this daughter that probably kept reminding him of the wife that he lost to at least be safe, if that makes sense. But now, with all that foundation laid, let me get into episode 6, which, yes, is Kudo going after to save his wife, his fiancée, rather. Mio stuck in a storage shed with Kaya and her mother. Now, I'm going to be saying I like this, I love this a lot. But keep in mind, this is all in perspective of what the story's being told. Not that I like the situation, because everything about this is horrible. But I love where they've kind of placed this whole situation. Kaya knows perfectly well what will break Mio. That's what she's seeking out here. Let's be truthfully honest. Kaya and her mother want to destroy Mio. And Kaya knows the best way to do that is psychologically. Her mother believes that she can do that through physical. So every time that Kanako, the mother, decides to take action, it's always physical. She believes she can control everything physically. And Kaya almost constantly tells her, "Mother, I got this handled." And she doesn't physically touch Mio. Instead, she always goes after Mio's psyche. She's trying to put Mio back into her old self. That was why she said, "Oh, this fancy dress. You got him to buy this for you? Let me cut it up so it's more suited for you." A servant. It's all mental. And Mio's not letting that happen, this is what makes this episode so freaking great. Mio is not doing that. Normally she would. Every time Kaya talks down to her, every time she calls her pretty much a servant, every time Mio would bow down and step back and take it. But suddenly, it's throwing Kaya off because Mio's not doing what I'm telling her to do. This isn't right. There's something broken here. She always listens to me. I'm always able to talk down to her. Suddenly, she's not accepting that. And yes, we know from Mio's perspective, that's because she's finally gained something. You're telling me to bow down and give you the only thing I have, and to go back to where I had nothing. It makes no sense to Mio. And I love that, because there is a side of me that has almost gotten a little bit frustrated by Mio's perspective. I understand Mio. I fully understand Mio. She is somebody that's broken, and again, has had pretty much everything taken from her. But I sort of wanted Mio at some point to realize she doesn't have to keep apologizing to Kudo, hoping that one day Kudo would tell her, "You're welcome here." And yes, he does technically do that in the previous episode. And that was all Mio really needed. So now Mio can stop being a victim, even though she is a victim right here. Let's be perfectly clear. She's able to finally say, "No, I'm allowed to be there. He accepted me there, and it's the only place I have. So I can't give that up. I can't come back to here. Mentally, you're trying to make me come back home. And I can't do that because there's nothing for me there." And yes, right now it's being burnt down. Let's be perfectly clear. Right now, it's going up in flames. There literally is nowhere for me to go back to. And no, I don't need to go to Koji. Koji never really truly accepted me. He walked away from me. Again, by societal norms and restrictions. I understand Koji. But I love that. We finally get that first act of defiance from Mio. She finally, for the first time, looks Kaya straight in the eyes and says, "No. No, I don't want to do that. I want to be with Kudo. That's who I want to be with." I finally am able to tell my stepsister for the first time ever, no. And it's great. Like that face finally, although broken and it hurts me so bad, that face, I love it. I loved that defiance that she finally had for the first time ever. So good. And again, that really goes into play with everything they portrayed so far. They've done such a great job of selling Mio's character as somebody that's always broken and always submissive and always letting everybody have their way. Having a society where this is normal, unfortunately, that the head of the households and whatnot have control over it. You don't step out of line. And to finally have that moment where she finally does step out of line. Why? Even to the social norms of that society, it makes perfect sense. I am the fiancé of the Kudo family. I am not a Saimori anymore. That's literally what she's saying. I am not a Saimori no more. You cannot tell me what to do. I almost wish that she did that at some point. She sort of does that. She does pretty much do that at some point. She says, "That's my husband. Kudo is my husband." It's that idea of her standing up and saying, "I am a Kudo. Do not touch me. I am not your family." But it still does. It still has the same effect. It still has that same effect that it just pushed so much emotion in me. I loved it. But yes, on the other side of the story is Kudo showing up, freaking destroying the entire gate. It seems to imply here, and I think this is pretty much the first time we're getting a full hint of this. I mean, he's used like a railgun shot. He's blasted birds out of the sky, or the paper birds. But this is the first point where they kind of point out from Koji's perspective, oh, this is what they were talking about, how the Kudo family has like the best ability. Like, this is lightning. Lightning, apparently, in the perspective here, is that this is like the most powerful probably physical attacking ability. I would assume there's other things like mind control. There's probably other things that are going to be more powerful in a sense of controlling people. But this is like the one. Lightning, apparently, from Koji's perspective, is like the ability, which makes sense why he knocks out the head of Tatsushi and Saimori without even trying. And then Tatsushi decides to burn down the Saimori household by freaking making a huge flame tunnel, which, yes, again, doesn't really bother Kudo all that much. But it was so funny because after all this, you have Kodoko Saimori just walk out the door and she looks out and she sees her castle's burning. And again, that gives perspective of who Kanako is. She is so materialistic. She wants what she wants. She doesn't want anybody to take anything from her. And now she's finally lost everything. And I think that'll be that massive, like, slap in the face for her. We get that payoff in the idea that this woman, she's lost everything. She took everything from Mio, and now she's lost all that, pretty much. And yes, technically the head of Saimori, he lost everything. This is what you get for making deals with the wrong people. But again, it gives you that little hint that Mio's father didn't know what he was getting into. Again, just like Koji, Mio's father is a victim of not taking action. They're a victim of being used. They're people that ignored the suffering of Mio to stay in their lanes. And what they got out of that is the lanes they were told to stay in led them to the cliff. That's the tragedy of their society and the things that they accepted that ultimately destroyed them. Which, yes, is the big payoff for the viewer because we want to see these people suffer, but at the same time gives you a sense that that's not the whole picture is what you see in front of you. I'm probably making a lot of people mad for actually standing up to idiots, but I don't like Mio's father. I think Koji was an idiot at first. And yes, I think Kaya is the spawn of all Satan. But there is a sense here. But no, I think the final scene with Kaya, when Kudo comes in there, is pretty much says everything. And is what I've been sort of feeling for the longest time. Again, I hate Kaya, but she is confused by Kudo coming to save Mio. She doesn't understand it. And this gives you that sense of what is wrong with Kaya. Why Kaya is an evil dirtbag. Why this writer is good at writing characters. They're not simply crazy and psychotic for the sake of being crazy, psychotic, and mean. Kaya legitimately doesn't understand why Kudo would choose Mio over her. Because Kaya her whole life has been told by her mother she is the greatest. Kaya, you are the prodigy. Kaya, you are the chosen one. Kaya, you have these abilities that your sister doesn't have. Your sister is trash. She's a servant. Treat her like one. Her mother burned in Kaya's mind that she is superior. And to treat her sister like garbage, because she is garbage. And so, finally, when there's one act of defiance to her, it doesn't make sense to her. Her brain cannot register it. I've been told my whole life I'm amazing. So why is Kudo walking with Mio out the door? She can't understand it. And that's why, and I know this is going to make some people upset, I understand that Kaya inherently is not evil. It's that she's been raised to be evil. The one that is evil is her mother. Her mother made that. And that's why, again, I said like earlier, I feel like there is a chance that Kaya can be redeemed in the story. Having that realization that it's all because of her mother. That her mother lied to her this whole time, and that she needs to accept that Mio can be happy. Because she's been told her whole life, Mio cannot be happy. The whole scene with Kaya and the Tatsushi head gave me that feeling of, this girl is an idiot. And Tatsushi said that as well. This idiot girl, I'm gonna let her do everything. She's so stupid. Like, she thinks she hates Mio so much, I don't have to do anything. I'll have her do it. She'll go back home where everybody treats her like a princess and tell everybody we're gonna do something terrible to Mio. And they'll accept it because she's so stupid and they love her so much, I can use her. Tatsuishi didn't even have to lift a hand. Again, in the end, this is his plan. His plan was to get Mio, but he knew that he didn't have to get his hands dirty because Kaya is so brainwashed by her mother and treated like a princess by her father that she'll get anything she wants. I'll let her destroy this. I'll let her pull Mio out of Kudo's hands, and then I'll grab Mio. It's super sad. Like, it is super sad. I've gotten to a point in my life where anytime I see something is wrong, I try to look for the root. It's so easy to see Kaya evil. And yes, I see it too. I hate her. I hate her. But I also like to find out what is causing this. And again, it's Kanako. Her mother is the root of this evil. And Tatsuishi came over and said, hey, let me carry that for a little bit. Let me use that for a little bit. That's the root issue here. And again, that was good. I thought it was amazing. Kudo just pretty much... Can we say that Kudo said, shut up before I kill you, without saying shut up before I kill you? He's literally like, all you talk about is how amazing you are. You are disgusting. Leave me alone. Shut up. It just walks out the door. He's literally telling her, why would I choose you when all you care about is you? That doesn't sound like a bargain for me. That doesn't sound like something I want. And again, that's what doesn't make sense to her. She can't comprehend it, but that's why everybody likes me. Why wouldn't you like that? It's great. And then, yeah, Koji coming up and saying, oh, well, I don't want Mio to be upset that you died here, so I have to get you out of here. Koji's like, I guess I'll take the leftovers. But again, I think that's a good thing because hopefully, and I kind of assumed this would happen. I was hoping that eventually Koji would just kind of slap some sense into Kaya and make her understand what she's doing is wrong. And I think that's what's going to happen. I truly do think that at some point in the story, Koji and Kaya will be happy. I think at some point, Kaya will realize she's an idiot and focus on something besides making her sister miserable because she spent her whole life having fun with her mother at the expense of Mio. And now she finally can find a different purpose, I guess. Because the moment she found out that Mio was happy and that this Kudo guy was pretty hot, she had nothing else to really spend her time with besides, God, I can't stand that. It's the gossip wife's aspect. She has literally nothing to do with her time than think of Mio being happy. And again, that's just sort of a product of its time. So it makes perfect sense to me. Anyhow, great episode. Cannot wait for more. It looks like there's another family that's, or at least some sort of secret group is still after that Usuba clan blood, which is Mio's family. Which, yes, technically here recently we had her having a sort of vision of something while she was dreaming. And Kudo sensed it. Like, he sensed suddenly a power. So it seems like, obviously, Mio, despite the fact that she has never really had the sight of these spirits, it seems like something is waking in her. So that's probably going to be something super OP because everybody wants it. I don't know if it's going to end up being the ability to control people. I've been sort of thinking that for a while now. Like, if this is something that everybody wants, like this is something that's extremely powerful, there's got to be something special about it. And usually what that kind of comes down to is control. An ability to control others. Because if you're a head of a very powerful group, what would you need? Like, what more power do you need? The power to control other powerful groups makes sense. So maybe it's going to be an aspect of control or a way of being able to look into other people or something like that. But we'll see. But anyhow, that's my thoughts on episode 6 of My Happy Marriage. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below. Comment, let me know what's thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to this channel, make sure that subscribe button to get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top lists if it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support it more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does, and y'all take care.